In my opinion, there are few countries in the world with geography as fun to study as Argentina's. Argentina's geography has been a confusing topic almost from the day Europeans spotted what now falls within its borders, and the country's geography continues to defy logic today. In this video, I'll cover what I think are some of Argentina's most fascinating geographic characteristics, both now and on old maps. I'll start with the age of discovery. Check out this map from the late 16th century. Here is Terra del Fuego. If it's not clicking where this is, here it is on a more modern map. This section of the archipelago belongs to Argentina, but on this old map, it's attached to a giant southern landmass, commonly known as Terra Australis, a theory that went back to the ancient Greeks. This region was named in 1520 by Ferdinand Magellan, when he sailed through the strait that would come to bear his name. The name translates to Land of Fire, after the many fires lit up by the local population. Because this region was so far south, and Magellan didn't round the Americas in the open waters further south, to some cartographers, his findings fit right into the Terra Australis theory. I've already made an entire video on this, but I can't make a video about Argentina's interesting geography without bringing it up. Magellan also claimed to have seen giants in the region. Magellan was killed before making it back to Spain, but his assistant, Antonio Pigafetta, wrote this. One day we saw a naked man of giant stature on the shore of the port, dancing, singing, and throwing dust on his head. When the giant was in the captain general's and our presence, he marveled greatly, and made signs with one finger raised upwards, believing that we had come from the sky. He was so tall that we reached only to his waist, and he was well proportioned. Magellan named these giants Patagons. While Pigafetta never explained Magellan's reasons for the name, it's been long believed that pata came from a Spanish and Portuguese word to mean foot or paw, though he may have taken the name from a literary figure in a Spanish novel of the early 16th century. Whatever the reason, the name stuck, and the region became known as Patagonia, which can be interpreted as Land of the Big Feet. Magellan allegedly captured two giants to take back to Spain and prove their existence. But like Magellan and the majority of his men, the giants didn't survive the journey, and apparently their remains were disposed of. Multiple explorers that came after Magellan also claimed to have seen giants. The most common belief now is that the people he called Patagons were simply people indigenous to the region who were on average taller than Europeans of the time. In January of 1684, while English buccaneer Ambrose Cowley was busy circumnavigating the globe, he came across an island. In his journal, which was edited and published by a William Hack, he wrote, "In the latitude of 47 degrees we saw land, the same being an island not before known. I gave it the name Pepe's Island." Hack included this drawing of Pepe's Island, and added names to its features such as Admiralty Bay and Secretary's Point. In Cowley's original manuscript, he did mention coming across an island, but never said anything about naming it Pepe's Island, or the names of any of its features. Apparently Hack made the additions to gain favor with the Secretary of Admiralty, Samuel Pepys. Many well-known explorers tried finding the island, but they failed because it simply didn't exist. William Dampier, a fellow privateer, wrote in his journal on the exact same day Cowley spotted what was supposed to have been Pepe's Island. But he wrote that he spotted the Falkland Islands, which Argentina has had de facto sovereignty over at several points in history, and is today disputed territory with the UK. Well, Dampier was actually on the exact same ship as Cowley. The confusion was caused by an inaccurate measurement by Cowley, Hack making additions, and the fact that the privateers had stolen and switched ships so often that it wasn't initially realized that Cowley and Dampier were actually together. It's well known that Argentina has had its ups and downs economically, but it has geography that you'd think would make it wealthy. There's a famous quote by the 1971 winner of the Nobel Prize in Economics. There are 4 kinds of countries: developed countries, underdeveloped countries, Japan, and Argentina. Nobody knows why Japan grows, and nobody knows why Argentina doesn't. Argentina has some of the best agricultural lands on Earth. The land is flat, the soil is fertile, there's enough precipitation for farming, and temperatures are pretty mild in much of the country. It's also pretty well protected from potential invaders. Wars within a country's borders aren't usually great for a country's economy. To the west is the Andes Mountains. These mountains cover Argentina's entire western border, the tallest of which reach nearly 7,000 meters in elevation. To the east, Argentina is protected by the Atlantic Ocean, and to the north, though to a lesser extent, by forest cover and multiple rivers. These rivers provide protection, but they also provide fresh drinking water, electricity, and large portions of these rivers are navigable, connecting communities as well as giving inland communities access to the sea. Argentina has numerous locations with ideal conditions for building year-round ports. Not all are natural harbors, but the conditions are good enough for building artificial ones. This is especially true of the Rio de la Plata, which is shared with Uruguay to the north. Argentina's nearly 5,000-kilometer coastline gives it quite a bit of ocean territory, allowing the country to catch nearly 1 million tons of fish per year. The country has a bit more coastline if you count its Antarctica claim. This claim overlaps with claims by the United Kingdom and Chile. Argentina's Antarctic claim is primarily based on a base that it set up in 1904, but Argentina took a weird measure to strengthen its claim in the disputed territory in 1977. The country sent a pregnant woman to the continent, which resulted in the first ever birth of a human on Antarctica. This was primarily in response to Chile's president visiting Antarctica and rumors that Chile was sending married couples, hoping that they would have the first baby born on Antarctica. One of the most interesting features of Argentina is its demographics. Argentina doesn't collect census data on race and ethnicity, but it's believed that around 25 million citizens, or 62.5% of the country's total population, have Italian ancestry. This is the second largest group found outside of Italy. Only Brazil has more, with 28 million, making up 15% of their population. Italians immigrated to Argentina primarily in the 19th century and early 20th century. Argentina had a pro-immigration policy, and at one point was offering 25 hectares to anyone willing to cultivate the land. Its economy was quickly growing, while at the same time, poverty was widespread in Italy. Argentina also has the highest Jewish population in Latin America, and the 7th highest in the world. Jews make up around 2% of Argentina's total population. Jews began migrating almost from the beginning of Spanish colonization to flee persecution, but a large portion came from Russia and Eastern Europe in the late 19th century. Some immigrated and became gauchos, the South American version of a cowboy. Now let's look at some of Argentina's interesting but lesser known natural features. The Perito Moreno Glacier. Shared with Chile, this glacier covers 121 square miles and is the third largest freshwater reservoir in the world. Despite global temperatures rising, this glacier is one of the few that is slowly growing, and scientists aren't exactly sure why. Bridge of the Incas. The story goes that the bridge was formed when the Inca king's guards were mineralized in place as they made a bridge for him to walk on, but in reality, it was created by glaciers and hot springs. Laguna del Diamante. This lagoon is sitting on top of sulfur vents, it's 5 times saltier than the ocean, and it's 4,600 meters above sea level, resulting in ultraviolet light that is around 25% more intense than at sea level. This environment isn't exactly ideal for living things. Despite these conditions, flamingos live here and survive by eating unidentified microbes that cover rocks. Scientists believe Earth's environment in its early days wasn't so different. Laguna del Carbon, another salt lake. It's the lowest point not only in Argentina, but also in the Americas, and it's the 7th lowest on Earth. And that's all for this video. What other interesting geography facts about Argentina did I miss? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube members for supporting the channel, and thank you all for watching.